Thank you for coming. We're going to be speaking today on an issue that can be controversial, but I think it's going to inform you. I think you'll enjoy it. And then it's purposely selected to make us think. Now, the California farmer and the ongoing challenge that the farmer has for water rights. How many remember when you were a kid, when you were growing up at home, or in school? It's funny because I was thinking about this. I remember school. I remember in fourth grade when they would make like a lasagna at school, and we wanted seconds, but we had to eat the spinach before we go to seconds. And to tell you the truth, in front of this video, I'll tell you that sometimes I would open the milk carton because I drank it, and I'd put the spinach in there and close it because I wanted to get seconds. Other times, I wasn't thinking and I'd eat the spinach. But have you ever had your mom or your dad growing up saying, or you tell your kids now, or your grandkids, you better eat your spinach, you better eat those vegetables? Well, those vegetables and fruits actually have great value. An author named Anne Amingen, she wrote an article, she calls it the consequences of not eating your fruits and vegetables. And she states how that the fruits and vegetables contain such a nourishment, such a strength that they can't be mimicked and they can't be substituted. Fruits and vegetables offer you the greatest nutrient value that humanly can be replaced or artificially through vitamins. It's not the same. They offer great value to your body. Now, it's right now, California is facing a big challenge in the farmers receiving allocated water because, as we all know, it's a drought. Now, thankfully, it's raining even outside here today. Or I saw little sprinkles of snow, but it's no one's fault. There was a drought. Water was not, the snow was not falling in the mountains, which produces the rainwater that runs down the valley. It's a natural reaction that we had a drought. The problem is that those farmers were now having less and less opportunity to receive their water. You may say, so what? But in reality, the California farmer produces in some areas 50%. I heard where figs and I heard where almonds, 50% of among 66 other fruits and vegetables. They make a great impact, not only in the price when you go to Fred Meyer's of your vegetables, but also of even having them available. So it has to do with water. It's no one's fault. It's just the lack of water sometimes. California, I did a research where from Bakersfield all the way above Fresno, up by Sacramento, there are the equivalency of 5 of our states. Natural, rich soil that allows us to grow wonderful fruits and vegetables. Have any of you, let me see a show of hands, have you ever driven from Sacramento further south? You know what's interesting? Did you know that we grow rice? California grows rice? Rice. Have you ever said, where does rice come from? They actually grow it on the ground. It's watered through California water. It's grown in the northern part of California. You'll see a lot of rice paddies that grow there. California produces a lot of rice. Now, so what happens? That the farmer, because of the drought, has had an ongoing conflict, an ongoing battle for their amount of water. Now, why am I telling you this speech? Because I want you to be informed. We go to Fred Meyer's and you choose, I'm going to take a lettuce, I'm going to take some jalapenos, I'm going to take some carrots, but those carrots and those vegetables came from somewhere. Most of those, I have a habit, I don't know if you do, I always like to flip the bag over and see where they're from. Because I used to pick those carrots, tomatoes, bell peppers. I know that. I look and I know the brand. It says Bolt House on carrots. It says, I was growing up in my life, I worked in the farm. So I have a question for you. Did any of you ever grow up in a farm or have lived in a farm or now live in a farm? I know Sheila now has kind of a farm life where she lives. But how many, let me see, I'm sorry, yes, that's wonderful. Did you know that in today's age, you can actually, the B&Bs, the bread and breakfast, they now offer you farm life. You can rent, go to a B&B and grow and spend a weekend or 4 days in a farmhouse. And they offer you just beautiful surroundings. You wake up with the sound of chickens and you wake up with the smell of coffee. It's just a wonderful farm living. So that might be something for you to consider, because those of us that grew up in a farm, we know it's a wonderful place to be, of clean air and lots of soil and just a great atmosphere. Now, the drought just brought less water to the farmer. Secondly, It became a competition. Interestingly, that there were three places that water is going now. And I was very surprised. I've seen it from the airplane when we fly. I've seen it. I actually have seen it. Where the water can go to the farmer. Guess where the second choice they send the water? Some of you might know already. They send it back into the ocean. They release it back into the ocean, uninhibited. When you fly, United always flies into San Francisco. You can see the rivers of water after a rainy day where the water is just going. Now, why am I challenging you? Because I believe that there's a third way. The third way should be that we should be replenishing this water into city parks, into sumps, into areas where that water can go back into our water tables, whether it's Oregon, whether it's Washington, whether it's California, where we're refilling and reestablishing our water tables. That's the natural way of doing it. Now, I'm for the conservative too. Hey, let's help the fish. I'm for that too. But let's also be aware that the vegetables we eat and the vegetables we enjoy come from somewhere, and that we're able to be able to enjoy them and keep a good price if we all just simply stop and think. Now, north of Sacramento, it's colder, more snow, more rain, so they don't have a lot of issues. South of Sacramento, it's drier, it's hotter, water is more challenging. I found an article from a farmer. This farmer is in Fresno, he grows almonds. And he says, during the drought years, all we were asking for is 5% of the allocation of just 5%, because that would have kept our trees alive. He said, what's happening now is that they're being bulldozed over, they're being destroyed, and they're placing solar plants. And that's fine, we probably need solar plants too, but not to replace the farmer who's producing food for our table. So what do? We must become informed, we must become aware. And I even thought of this because I'm supposed to give you a solution. I thought, you know what? Why not produce commercials on television, commercials on radio, commercials on the internet, where they show the value of a farmer and what he produces for our country? Those who are in charge, those people who are congressmen and legislators and local city government, if we do our part to being informed and to saying, hey, I want to make a difference. I don't want there was a time that as a young man, I was working in the lettuce farm, and back then there were no long hose, they were short hose, and you'd have to actually lean over. I did that for many years, and just thin out the hose so that the lettuce has room to grow. So why not say this is important for us, this is valuable for us? So I'm saying let's do our part, whatever that would be in your life, whatever that would become. I think it's valuable. I think it's important. I did a research on what states produce the greatest cash receipts for fruits and vegetables. You know that California is number one with $47 billion. Isn't that a lot? That means that they're doing a lot of work. Number two is Iowa, $27 billion. Number three was Texas. Number four was Nebraska. I thought that was interesting. Number five was Minnesota. So these states produce fruits and vegetables that fill our grocery stores, like Fred Meyer's or Safeway, that allow us to go after work and pick up our fruits and vegetables. Now, interesting enough, what's a solution? Let's get involved. Let's do our part. But also, here's the other thing. I thought it was great. The governor of California, Jerry Brown, he actually initiated an investigation, a research, a survey, where a man named Dr. David Sudding from the UC Berkeley did a study. What if they were to build a tunnel from Sacramento to the Delta and underground send water? Now the cost is a little high, it's $11 billion cost to do that. But in return, they're able to sell that water and generate between $2 to $4 billion a year, where it would pay itself back. In other words, instead of sending the water above ground, they'd send the water underground through pipes, through a special product, which would allow the water to travel further, safer, and reach its destiny, and would help meet some of the needs. Is it all the answer? No. There's many things we can do. The purpose of this is to persuade you the value that water and the California farmer affect us. We have no way around it. They affect us. I did want to read you in closing. I do have something that was it meant so much to me that I wanted to read it to you. It goes like this. Please don't settle to enjoy your apples, your carrots, your lettuce or tomato without making time to understand that water makes all this possible. Someone worked hard, invested a season to plant, a season to develop, and a season to grow, bringing a great harvest for your dinner table. The farmer is very important for all of us. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope that I've made some type of persuasion in your life. Thank you.